Actually, can you just take me back home? It's at Park Avenue.
Sure, lady. Anything you want.
Time to pull up the stakes and leave this shithole behind. Gather whatever shit you want and meet me out in the car. 15 minutes tops.
Is everything okay, Dad? Is someone after us?
Wyatt, quick so!
Cats don't like to travel.
Well, anyone who doesn't like to travel isn't invited on our adventure.
Don't be so sentimental. We can always get a new cat. And besides, now Quicksoap will be a wild cat, which is much more fun than being a boring old house cat.
Listen to your mother.
All this running around and moving was temporary.
Dad explained. He had a plan. He was going to find gold. Everybody said Dad was a genius. He could build or fix anything. He was always inventing things, but one of his most important inventions was a contraption he called the prospector. It was going to help us find gold. In my mind, Dad was perfect, although he did have what Mom called
A bit of a drinking situation.
We could usually handle it, but some days Dad turned into a stranger who broke things and beat up Mom and anyone who got in his way. That was rare, though, so it was okay. He also told us stories about himself mostly, but when Dad wasn't telling us about himself, he told us about all the wondrous things he could do, like building our glass castle.
All we had to do was find gold.
Dad said. Once that happened, with the help of the prospector, he'd start work on the glass castle.
Do you always like moving around?
Of course I do. Don't you?
Sure.
How many places have we lived?
It depends on what you mean by lived. If you spend one night in some town, do you live there? How about 2 nights? Or the whole week?
If you unpack all your things.
We counted 11 places we had lived. Then we lost track. We couldn't remember the names of some of the towns or what the houses we lived in looked like. Mostly, I remember the inside of cars. It was some time later when Mom and Dad came back from the bar, carrying snacks for us. Then we started driving again.
Mom, pack this for me!
But I don't want to eat it!
I'm hungry too! Good thing we're both not hungry. Brian, we've been starving for days! God. I thought you were gonna leave me behind!
Oh, I'd never do that. Your brother was blubbering so hard about how you'd fallen out the car. I couldn't understand him a bit.
Ugh.
You fucked up not locker, didn't you?
Mom was pregnant. Everyone hoped it would be a boy so Brian would have someone to play with. Dad planned for us to move to a town called Blythe when it was time for Mom to give birth. In the meantime, though, Mom devoted herself to her art. She spent all day painting, sculpting, drawing, sketching, doing whatever. She didn't really have a style either. She did everything from realism to abstract to what she called being primitive. She loved being an artist. We were on our way to Blythe. Earlier, Mom had told us it was almost time for the baby to come out. She said she had been pregnant for 10 months.
You probably lost track somewhere, Rosemary.
No, I didn't. I always carry children longer than most women. Lori was in my womb for 14 months.
Bullshit, unless Lori's part elephant.
Don't you make fun of me or my children. Some babies are born premature. Mine were all post-mature. That's why they're so smart. Their brains had longer to develop.
That's not fucking possible. If that's the case, then you and your children are all freaks of nature.
You're just a Mr. Know-It-All Smarty Pants who refuses to believe that I'm special.
Not even Jesus H. Christ on a goddamn cross took that long to gestate.
Rex, blasphemy is a sin!
You crazy bitch! Get your goddamn ass back in the car! Damn it, Rosemary, get back in here!
Here goes the adventure.
The car's right behind us.
Why are they honking at us?
What the hell is
Mom
going
and Dad
on?
already taught me everything
that a
Miss Paige was
cop?
teaching
You're
in our
lucky it
second
wasn't,
grade
otherwise
class.
you'd be hauling
Dad
your
had me
ass
write
off
everything in
jail.
binary numbers, but today I didn't have time to convert it into Arabic numbers.
Okay, well, this is going great.
What is this? It's trash. You need to start over.
Bad news, Dad lost his job.
Well, at least he kept it longer than before. Where do you think we'll be living next?
We're staying here. We'll have to help out now.
We'll have to eat less.
Well, we had before.
We did eat less. We quickly ran out of food, though sometimes Dad would get money with gambling, and we got to eat for a few days. Before the food ran out, Dad would be there. He would always have ideas on how to get food, but now he's been disappearing a lot. My new little sister, Maureen, would always ask,
You want me to beg from my mother again? Damn it, Mary. It's not like we're asking for handouts.
They've been fighting lately. It's not the first time, and it won't be the last.
Dory, tell them we like eating margarine. Maybe that'll make them stop arguing.
That'll make Mom think we're on Dad's side. Plus, it'll make it worse. Let them work it out themselves.
Now they're arguing about Mom's paintings. We should help.
Let's go outside.
He's trying to kill me! Damn it, Rosemary, get back in here!
Just after I turned 8, Billy moved in. Billy is weird. He walks around like he's itchy. Maybe he is. He does always carry Marlboros and a lighter with him. Maybe that itches his skin? Billy was also always left alone. Maybe that's the reason why he thinks he's my boyfriend, which is not true.
If it's a skinned cat, then I don't want to see it.
Nah, it ain't nothing like that, really. You'll laugh and laugh. Well, unless you're scared.
Of course I'm not scared.
Billy was strange. One time, when playing hide and seek, he smashed his face against mine. He told everyone we kissed. Later, when I gave his stuff back declaring we weren't friends anymore, he did something to me. He said he raped me. I don't know what that means, but I don't think that's true.
Grandma Smith had a big house. She'd let me smell her perfume and brush my hair. She was always there for me. She taught in school, just like Mom. Mom, however, didn't like Grandma Smith, complaining about how she was overbearing. I don't care. I love Grandma Smith.
We're going to stay with Grandma Smith?
No. Grandma's dead.
What?
There's no reason to grieve.
And I know what you're thinking. I want to make one thing clear. I'm not.
Your father needs to see the mess he's making of our lives. I've read books that if the mess is cleaned up when they wake up, they assume nothing happened. We need to leave the mess out so he knows what he did.
So, we leave the house a mess?
Yes. And if he's out for too long, pick his pockets. Take any change he has.
Why?
I have a really good feeling about this Christmas.
Things aren't going well, and they're not going to get better in a month.
This is God's way of telling us to take charge of our own fates. God helps those who help themselves.
That year's Christmas was not any better than before. Dad yelled at church while the chorus was singing, saying, "Virgin my ass," about Mary. Although Christmas wasn't great, at least we could afford gifts.
What do you want most in the world, Jeanette? It's a special occasion. You are turning 10.
I'm scared to ask you.
You know, if it's humanly possible, I'll get it for you. If it ain't humanly possible, I'll die trying.
Do you think maybe you could stop drinking?
You must be awfully ashamed of your old man.
No, of course not. I just think we would all be happier. Dad? Dad?
Oh, God! Oh, Jeanette, leave, please! Oh, you don't need to see me like this!
Mom, do something. You have to help Dad. Only he can fight his demons. He needs to learn to deal with his addiction by himself.
A few weeks have passed. Dad finally came out of his room. He looked paler and thinner. He had no appetite and his hands kept trembling, but at least he was sober.
I wonder what life will be like now.
The same. He tried stopping before, but it never lasted.
This time it will.
How do you know that?
It's his present to me.
With Dad drinking again and no money coming in, Mom decided it would be best to move to Welsh in West Virginia with Dad's parents.
Welcome to Welsh!
Pleased to meet you, Grandma.
I'm not a grandma. My name's Irma.
She don't like it none because it makes her sound old. Name's Ted. You can call me Grandpa. Don't bother me none being a grandpa.
And I'm your Uncle Stanley.
We kids slept in the basement in Uncle Stanley's room, who slept upstairs on the couch. It was cold and dank. We kids had to share a bed, and it was hard to fit all of us. So me and Lori laid with our heads at the end, and Brian and Maureen laid with their heads at the front of the bed.
I hate Irma.
Jeanette, you have to show some compassion for her. She didn't have a great childhood. Her multiple relatives treated her like a servant. She can't let go of her misery. It's all she knows. Plus, you should never hate anyone. Everybody has one redeeming quality about them. You have to find it and love them for it.
Oh yeah, how about Hitler? What was his redeeming quality?
Hitler loved dogs.
Unfortunately, Mom and Dad had left us for a while to redeem our things left back in Phoenix, so we were stuck with Irma, Grandpa, and Uncle Stanley. We kids were all watching TV in the living room. Irma told Brian that his britches needed mending. She took him into the other room to fix them. After a while, I heard Brian weakly protesting, so I went into the room. I saw something that truly hurt my soul. Lori came in and we both told Irma to leave Brian alone. She yelled at us and slapped Lori. Lori slapped her back. She was 13 now and wasn't afraid of Irma. They both flew at each other and, well, not much more needs to be said. Mom and Dad came home and took Irma's side. We got in trouble. Irma kicked us kids out of the house, so we all had to find a new place to live.
Well, kids, welcome to 93 Little Hobart Street. Welcome to home, sweet home.
It's a good thing we raised you youngins to be tough, because this house is not for the faint-hearted. There's no electricity at the moment, because we can't really afford it. But this place is only $1,000. We talked the owner into having the down payment waived. So, instead of paying what we originally could have had, we can only pay $50 a month, and if we pay it on time, we can own the house in under 2 years.
Count your blessings. There are people in Ethiopia who would kill for a place like this. To have a roof over their heads and love in their hearts.
The house doesn't look like much, but we won't be living in it long.
We moved our stuff in the house that afternoon. Mom and Dad chose their room with a stove, which became a combination of a living room, master bedroom, art studio, and writer study, while us kids all slept in the middle room on a big bed left behind by the previous owner. The third room at 93 Little Hobart Street, the kitchen, was in a category all on its own. It had an electric stove, but the wiring was not exactly up to code.
Helen Keller must have wired this damn house.
Mom tried to make living at 93 Little Hobart Street seem like an adventure, from making clothes which turned out to be lopsided, to decorating the living room walls with her oil paintings, or even to taping different colored pieces of paper to catch the light on the windows.
Now it looks like we have stained glass.
Every night for the first week, I would listen to the sound of rainwater dripping from the kitchen on my cardboard mattress. I would dream about the desert, the sun, and the big house in Phoenix that we owned. The one that we still owned. Our one true home.
Are we ever going home?
Home?
Phoenix.
This is our home now.
One time, a big, nasty-looking river rat took up residence at 93 Little Hobart Street. The first time the rat appeared was on top of our dinky little water machine. It was rolling around the top of it like some comfy bed.
There's a rat!
Where?
Follow me!
The rat is coming for me.
That's not true. Stop being a wuss.
I really do fear the rat. I think he's close.
No, it's not, and I'll prove it to you.
I feel a little bad for the rat. Even though he's dead, I think we should give it a name. How about Rufus? Ooh, I want to put the rat on a stake, just like the book where warriors use their victims' bodies to scare off enemies.
We heard gunshots go off where Mr. Freeman lived next door. He had seen the rat and assumed it was a possum and got his hunting rifle and blew Rufus clean away. There was nothing left of Rufus besides a mangled piece of his tail. That winter, Irma died from her liver, as Dad said that her liver had simply given out. However, Mom said that Irma drank herself to death and quoted that it was suicide every bit as much as it was if she had stuck her head in the oven, but only slower. Whatever caused Irma's death, Dad seemed to be more distraught than I'd ever seen.
Do you kids have anything nice to say about Irma now that she's passed?
Ding dong, the bitch is dead.
She was my mother, for God's sake. You kids make me ashamed. You hear me? Ashamed.
You're ashamed of us?
Well, we had before.
I think the cat ruined it. Driving. You need to start.
It's what I'm imagining right.
Do you think maybe you could... Oh, shoot.
Yeah, wrong line, honey.
Okay, alright.
Wrong line, honey.
Cannot be... You are stealing so much blanket!
Ready, tidy, lefty, loosey.
Lefty Lucy.
I'm gonna have to cut that.
Keep groaning!
Yeah, just go.
Voiceover 6. We did eat less. We quickly ran out of